Hey guys, this is Aggi, that's A-double-G-I, with drums Bonedo, and today we'll take a look at Evans Hybrid Sensory Percussion and do some hybrid drumming. Enjoy! Sensory percussion is a unique trigger system for acoustic drums that actually does take hybrid drumming to a new level. The important feature here is that the sensors and the software work seamlessly together. This allows the system to detect up to 10 playing zones per drum. So while some of us drummers are happy to hit a drum at all, sensory percussion knows 10 different ways to hit a drum and to trigger different sounds, different effects, and some other weird stuff. Now, sensory percussion has been around for a few years. Originally, it went by the brand name Sunhouse, and these are the guys who continue to develop the software. But now that Evans have taken over, they've added an audio interface, presumably to make sure that the communication between the sensors and the software runs smoothly. They call this the portal. It has 7 trigger inputs and some additional ins and outs, even ADAT, and you can even use it as a regular audio interface. So that's a great extra if you don't already own one. I would love to see some sort of holder or tray for this though, maybe similar to a module for eDrums. I've improvised and put it on a stand for a tablet, but that's not very stable, and I wouldn't want to take it on stage like this. The sensory percussion bundle that they sent me for review includes the portal audio interface along with the software and 3 sensors with all the accessories like cables and even a pair of sticks. So besides a drum kit, all you need to get started is a Mac or PC, preferably a laptop, and a pair of headphones or in-ears. Now, I won't talk too much about setup here. Evans are covering that themselves in a great and very detailed way. And given that this is a very complex system, the setup is pretty simple. I'm using a trigger on kick with a mesh head, on floor tom, also with a mesh head, and on snare with a regular acoustic head. And apart from that, there's another tom without triggers that I'll play the old-fashioned way. Now before you can start playing, you have to go through a training process for each sensor. So you pick the sensor and the zone that you want to train, and you give the software some examples of how your drum head on your drum resonates when you hit it. To make this all a little more clear when starting out, the 10 zones for snare and toms are divided into 3 levels. We'll start with level 1. That includes a center stroke, an edge stroke, and a rim click with the tip and the shoulder of the stick. For this first example, I picked a simple preset called Corporeal Chimera. Now every preset comes with a set of macros. That's a simple way to change all the complex effects working under the hood with only a few buttons and dials. I'm using presets for the whole effects chain here. So I recorded all this without a click, and I did miss an accessible metronome in the software. This would also be great to sync the delay that we heard in the end to the beat. Now, I know that there is a metronome in there, it's just kind of buried. Now, to show you all 10 zones on snare, I picked a preset called Analog Trap. The zones are center, rimshot center, edge, rimshot edge, rim click tip, rim click shoulder, side stick, damped, stick shot, and shell. Go! That was intense, right? Now, having all these sounds and different variations of sounds on one drum really is kind of amazing. Having said that, in that particular kit, I'm not so sure if I really like that bouncy bass note that's triggered by the kick. It actually changes pitch based on rhythmic density, so if you play faster, the note gets higher. Anyway, I'm sure there's a way to deactivate stuff like that if you don't like it. So, now we've already seen that it's not only the zones that change the sounds, but also speed and, of course, velocity. But apart from that, in some presets, there's yet another factor. They call it timbre. If this is active on a drum, you don't only get center and edge, you get a lot of gray areas in between. I picked the preset Proxemic 25 for this, and after all the racket earlier, hopefully it will calm us down again. Now in this example there was a sequence of different notes, and as you could see, that sequence was modulated by timbre. In the next preset, there's something similar happening with the sounds of a typewriter. The preset is called Typewriter Pattern Kit, and to see how this works, we'll take a look at the edit page of the software. The pattern has 6 steps, and you can see this right here on the lower right of the screen. Now maybe you noticed that apart from the sequence itself, there also was quite a bit of effects modulation on these sounds. And this seems to happen randomly. It's like real life. Some things you can control, and some others you can't. The final preset I picked is called Pacified Vibe, and similar to Proxemic 25 that we heard before, it uses a melodic pattern on tom. But in this case, there are 8 chords, and you can switch between these chords by hitting the rim of the snare. And because that's still not complex enough, there's also timbre. Now, I think it's really impressive what you can do with this. But with that being said, I'm not totally convinced of all the melodic and harmonic content. I'd probably prefer to play with a real keyboarder who knows what they're doing. And also, if you play this on stage, people in the audience will probably suppose that somebody else is playing your part, or that you're using a playback. So that's it with my examples. There are some acoustic kits in there, but I didn't record them because I don't like them. If you want to simulate acoustic drums, you better get an electronic drum set that also has cymbal pads and maybe use realistic sounds like Toontrack Superior Drummer. In that case, there's no use for all these different zones anyway. If you're a producer and you want to use sensory percussion for your beats, you should be aware that you can't easily play and record a performance on the same computer. And if you recorded them, you will have to deal with audio, and this is way more difficult to edit than MIDI. Creating your own presets will be challenging, but you can always use existing presets as a starting point. So now here's my conclusion. I really am impressed. First of all, sensory percussion is really a lot of fun, and then it also sets the standard in hybrid drumming. It is really complex, and there are loads of possibilities, and even with all its depth, the system presents itself so clearly that the first steps almost run by themselves. So that's really, really well done. In my opinion, the focus is mainly on hybrid drumming on stage. Having said that, I think that the system sometimes goes a little overboard with modulations to show off what they can do. What I would like to see in terms of functionality would be a more accessible metronome, and of course possibly a mount for the audio interface. Now, just as impressive as the sounds and the functions is the price of sensory percussion. There is added value with the included audio interface, but with 1,669 euros here in Germany, it's quite an investment. So that's all I had. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to buy sensory percussion, you can help our channel by using the affiliate link below. Thanks.